Everyone knows Breath of the Wild is the best game on Switch. And if you disagree, leave a comment below and I'll personally come fight you.
Dude.
If you love Zelda and you want more games like Zelda, I've got 4 games you should definitely check out on the Nintendo Switch. I'm stoked, you should be stoked. Let's go. First, I want to talk about the most blatant, the most obvious carbon copy of Breath of the Wild. And friends, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button to join the family and tap that bell icon so you don't miss any notifications. The game is called Genshin Impact. Yeah, you may have heard of this one, so we won't spend too much time here, but this one should speak for itself. These visuals are a carbon copy of Zelda, and so is a lot of the music, but to be honest, despite the visuals, this game does enough of its own thing to really carry its own weight. For starters, you can level up, which is awesome. There's a lot more story here, and although Breath of the Wild obviously had its anime influences, well, with Genshin Impact, that's in full force here. Very well done cutscenes and voice acting. But even still, as somebody who's not into anime, it doesn't make me less interested in this game. It gives it style and helps set it apart. The combat is different here too, relying on combos and elemental attacks that interact with each other in different ways as you switch between characters on the fly. The downside here is that this game works on a gacha system, loot boxes essentially, and the controls are a little simplistic. This game was created with mobile in mind, so just be aware of that going in and you should be just fine. It can be a bit grindy though, so just be prepared for that. Everything else though is cool. The world is peaceful, immersive, and oddly relaxing, while enemies and bosses can be quite a challenge. There's lots of areas to explore and lots of gliding around to do. I'm actually excited for the future of Genshin Impact, and I'm looking forward to seeing what this game can become with future updates. Next up, we have Windbound. This is a survival adventure game where you sail across the ocean in Wind Waker fashion, visiting island after island, fighting enemies, crafting, and collecting resources so you can make your way back to your people. Each island is procedurally generated, which means they're randomly created so that no island will ever be identical. This makes you a true explorer as you never really know what you'll find on each one. Expect exploration, towers, light beacons, and an amulet that interacts with things in a very familiar way. The story is revealed through unlocking the towers you find as you explore. Discovering all these towers will unlock more islands and progress the game. The more islands you unlock, the bigger they become, with more to explore. You'll need to fight creatures and harvest their meat, bone, and hide to keep your hunger and health gauges full and your boat equipped with the right upgrades. Enemies and combat here are pretty basic, but there are some awesome sea monster bosses. With sailing, you'll have to learn to maneuver your way through the winds, even if they're not going in the direction that you need them to. And be warned, there are weather effects that will make this harder for you, and your ship can take damage. Cool thing in Windbound is that your boat is your companion. You'll watch it change forms as you collect resources and upgrade it to progress, so it's an important part of the game. This is definitely a survival game, and the aesthetics, world design, mechanics of the menus, and even sound effects are straight up from Breath of the Wild. It's a pretty game, and although I wouldn't expect anything groundbreaking here visually, I will say it is satisfying watching the sunset as the stars come out of the night sky while sailing across the ocean. This is a good one to play if you like the survival elements of Zelda and you're up for a challenge. We got 2 more games to talk about, and I want to know so far, what do you think? Have you heard of these games before? Is there anything you might be picking up? Let me know in the comments below, and tap that like button if you're a Zelda fan like me. We're gonna go 2D for a second because this adventure RPG is mainly a side-scroller and heavily influenced by Zelda 2 on the NES. It's called Phoenotopia Awakening, and it's pretty awesome. You travel from town to town, exploring and wandering around an overworld with enemies that approach and warp you into a side-scrolling battle mode where you can either fight or flee. Don't let the cute looks deceive you. Combat in this game can be quite challenging, but you unlock moves and abilities as you progress. You have a stamina bar, and the lower it is, the less damage you deal in combat. And to heal up, you have to eat. And to eat, you have to, well, eat. It doesn't happen instantly. You have to give Gale a couple seconds to choke it all down, so this means you need to be strategic about when you try to replenish your health during combat. There's cooking in this game too, and you'll need to bring flint and logs to strike them to create your campfire. So expect some resource collecting and light survival elements here. What's not to love? There's combat with a slingshot, puzzles, throwing bombs, there's dungeons, playing various songs on your flute to make things happen, and even down to the sound effects sounding like they were straight pulled from various Zelda games. This one does take influence from a lot of different games though. Also expect lots of NPCs, some platforming, and gameplay that lets you choose your own playstyle. The graphics are obviously very cute and charming, which I'm a sucker for, and the music is really chill. Now, what many people may not know is that this is a reboot essentially of a Flash game that was on Newgrounds. The glow up here is real. And now for probably the biggest copy of Zelda on this list, Oceanhorn 2: Knights of the Lost Realm. Hey look, a winning formula is a winning formula, okay? This is another action RPG. Puzzles, dungeons, bosses, a story with twists and turns, and visuals that make you just want to take in a deep breath of wild air. Okay, I tried. Breath of the Wild. Kind of looks like Breath of the Wild. And Skyward Sword. I mean, you're going to be dropping boulders on enemies, fighting back against wind puzzles, using a hook shot, smashing pots, and setting barrels down on switches to open doors. All the familiar themes here. You can pick up enemy weapons or use your own, which is cool. And there's lots of treasure to collect. The story takes place 1,000 years before the previous game, and you play as a silent protagonist who's trying to save the world. So look, don't expect anything new or innovative here, but if you're hurting around for some more Zelda, let's be honest, this just might be your cure. It's really well done, the visuals are really nice, all the music and sound effects are here, and the gameplay is solid, although it might be a bit routine by now. Still, this is a really cool game, and it's amazing what they've accomplished at such a small studio. These are some good games, otherwise I wouldn't be talking about them. Don't be mad that they look a lot like Zelda, I mean, can you blame them? If you're a fan of the genre, these are definitely worth taking a look at. Are there any other games that you would recommend that remind you of Zelda? Let us know in the comments below so we can all check it out. And as always, hit that subscribe button for more Nintendo Switch news, reviews, and discussions. And if you want to see another one of my videos, just tap one of the boxes on your screen, and I'll see you over there. They got a mirror here now, so it's weird. It's like me. It's like my co-host. Fix your beard, dude. No, you fix your beard. I am.